Around 7 years old, I came home to see my mom and dad fighting. Saw my dad beat my mom pretty bad. My dad left, and my momentum had taken me to a dark place. God knew that I was broken. Started getting involved heavily in the gang landscape in LA. When we had to run in with the other gang, I escalated the situation and committed a horrible crime and was sentenced to life in prison.
They put shackles on you, they put waist chains around your waist, and then you're led onto a bus and you take this ride. The bus bounced along. When you get to the end of the highway, you're at the front gate of the prison. And just think, what in the world is happening to me?
The day my dad was arrested, I remember fear. And I remember him coming out in an orange jumpsuit, and he's shackled at his hands and at his feet, and he's walking out. And he says, "Ebony, this means forever." My father was always into music. Started off as a promoter, then went on to become a manager and a publisher, and really successful career. He had 4 counts of drug conspiracy charges. They allowed for prosecutors to bundle all these convictions into this one sentence. In 1987, new sentencing guidelines came into play. He was given 3 20-year concurrent sentences. The last charge was a life without parole charge.
Mass incarceration. A lot of people think it began with the war on drugs. That added a lot to it. But then they started creating these mandatory life sentences, mandatory life without parole sentences. It affects people of color disproportionately, but it affects everyone else who's caught up in it. There is a point where punishment is just for the sake of vindictiveness and has no rehabilitation function because the person is already rehabilitated.
My daughter came to visit with my mom, and my daughter's 7 years old, and she walks up to the prison glass, and you can see me sitting back there with a jumpsuit on, chained and shackled, and she looked at me, and instantly I could see the fear in her eyes. I was on the verge of crying because I could see the pain that I was causing her. And this was the first time that I realized how my childhood experiences formed the way I approached the world and reacted, how what my father had did to my mother impacted me and my experiences with the gang. I didn't know how to communicate that. I didn't have the therapy available to me when I was a kid, and instead it came out as anger. That therapy allowed me to heal and to start moving forward.
My whole way of thinking changed through that experience. I am the Deputy Director of the Louisiana Parole Project. What Parole Project does is represent juvenile and 40-year lifers in the process of their parole hearings and also in their reentry. The first thing we do is a reorientation, reintroducing them to the world. The second thing is we start connecting them with the resources they need, developing community and family relationships. They perceived as high risk because of their crimes, but in actuality, they've aged out over time, they've matured. We've been incarcerating people long past the value of any punishment.
Mass incarceration has now become a tsunami that has ripped across the United States, ripping apart families and destroying communities. I actually started an organization called We Got Us Now. We Got Us Now is built by, led by, and about children and young adults who've experienced parental incarceration. It'll be 30 years this December. So much time that we'll never be able to get back. I believe that people age out of crime. If this is a system of corrections, at what point are we correcting anything?
When it was time for me to come home, it was time for me to come home because God had stuff that I needed to do. I'm the Director of Inside Programs for ARC, the Anti-Recidivism Coalition. My specific supervision covers a team of 7 former lifers like me that go back into the Department of Corrections, and we facilitate rehabilitative programs that helped us return home. These are our citizens, these are our brothers and sisters. Shouldn't we want to help them heal, prepare them to come back into society and thrive? Shouldn't that be our goal?